those signs that are at the stations, those little cardboard cutouts, they were removed. A bunch of people complained about that, and now they're gone. And it's because the community as a whole had a point. It's like, why do you need to shove the atomic shop in my face when I'm at every station? It's almost like, you know, I'm going to go to a station, so it's like, let me just shove this in their face one last time. Be like, come on, you want to spend money? Or no? Huh? Huh? Yes? No? No? Patch 13 note, September 10th, 2019. Couple things on the patch highlights, quality of life stuff, tweaking different things. One of the quality of life things we're looking at is public events. They're saying select events are now public events and have received quality of life improvements, including free fast travel, no more drop junk on death in adventure mode, additional details on the map, and more. One of the things for tweaking, they have some design and balance updates for weapons. Purveyor got some stuff. The small backpack got added. We'll get into most of these later on. The big one as well, new map for Morgantown. We're going to be checking that out tonight. Another big one, global matchmaking. We'll get more into that as well. And then new limited time rewards for Morgantown. So I already want to play Nuketown, Jesus. Nuclear Winter. They're getting me in there more. Now Morgantown's going to be known as Nuketown, I guess. But these limited time rewards, they're saying there's 6 of them. I don't have to look at those challenges to see exactly what it is, but... Alright, so for general updates, and apparently this was affecting 9% of characters, I didn't know. They have a fix for power armor that apparently will unstack chassis. And a couple things that might happen, similar to what happened last time. We might go to spawn into the game and then find out we're over encumbered because maybe chassis got emptied or you got a couple of chassis added to your character or stash. So keep that in mind, but whatever. I mean, people might be like, oh, this is inconvenience and this and that. It's for a fix. Worst comes to worst, you're spending a couple of minutes trying to like put your chassis and pieces together. As long as they're fixing this, especially that power armor itself has been more and more of a problem and causing game crashes and whatnot. They also say, additionally, we are still actively working to address the control lock that can occur when exiting power armor. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. That's one of the things that I keep hearing about. And it's good that they know about this and they're verbally saying, you know, we're working to fix it and they're going to try to release a hot fix as soon as possible. Public events got some updates. And they're stressing quality of life a lot throughout this. And they're saying that this event system overhaul is based largely on the feedback from the community. So that's good that they're actually listening and starting to, you know, make different changes, whether it's UI, overall stability, overall objectives, or how they're constructing these events. It's a good step forward. So going into UI improvements, now there's going to be a larger and more noticeable map icon for these events compared to other events. Some of the dialogue box options that they're calling out are how many players are currently participating, how much time has passed since the event begun, difficulty rating, which I'll get into in a second, type of gameplay offered by that event, boss, defense, or something else. And then loading screens also have some more detailed event descriptions and including tips for success that they're calling it. Going back to the difficulty rating, although I don't do too many events, I only stick to, let's say, Uranium Fever, maybe Free Range, the Encrypted event if it pops up, Scorch Beast Queen, sure. Some of the other ones, maybe Heart of the Swamp, or one with the bees, Irrational Fear, I believe. I'm going to be more inclined to do some of these other events if it's going to let me know a little more about them. If it's easy enough to complete, if I have a shot at a legendary, whatever. But if I start going to these events and they have a difficulty rating, Now we also get some insight into how Bethesda looks at each event. If we fly through an event and we think it's easy even for low levels, and it says that, like, high difficulty level, then we kind of know what Bethesda's thinking in terms of difficulty. So I'm going to try to keep an eye on that, maybe go to some more events just to see. Then going back down to the loading screens that are now going to have more detailed event descriptions and including tips for success. So I really hope that for the Sheep Squatch Imposter Encrypted event, that one of the loading screens maybe says something like, hey, why don't you go activate a pylon, and then maybe the DPS people can do their job, and they don't have to, be worried about running around killing themselves. So who knows? So hopefully something like that. I doubt it'll be as blunt as that and as, straightforward as like, here, go do this. They'll probably, spice it up like, oh, it might help if you activate all three to ensure, the Sheep Squatch downfall or something. Who knows how they're going to word it, but hopefully that's kind of where it leads to. A little more knowledge to the events, especially people that don't know what's going on in those public events. Also, everybody that is level 7 and up and not inside a vault will receive an announcement when an event kicks off. So now we're going to get more of a warning that something's going on, whether it's Arctos Pharma has Project Paradise going on, or Scorch Beast Queen already has the notification, so I guess it'll be something like that. Encrypted as well. Encrypted already has a notification, but now it's going to be spiced up a little bit. Hopefully we see more people turning out at these events. And how can they not turn out to these events when the next quality of life update that they call out is fast travel to public events is now free? So if I'm across the map now, I definitely don't care. I'm going to fast travel even more. I mean, I personally feel like I burned through a bunch in travel costs. I mean, it's not like we can travel anywhere in the map for free yet. Maybe one day they'll kind of lower the tax. They've already done it for lower levels. That's good. But now being able to fast travel to public events will definitely help out with the turnout. Another big one is players no longer drop junk during these events. So if you die, you don't have to worry. If you're doing encrypted and you have some stuff on you, and then you die to the Sheep Squatch in one laser blast, you're safe. But another thing that they're changing on that, though, is you're going to have a respawn timer. And they're saying that after each successive death, up to a max of 20 seconds might be your respawn timer. But now let's kind of keep that in mind for Scorch Beast Queen or the Imposter Sheep Squatch. The Imposter Sheep Squatch, sometimes you just have a rough run of luck and you spawn right on the Sheep Squatch and he one-hits you. If that happens a bunch of times, then you have to wait 20 seconds at a clip, and the event is only a 10-minute event, or it was a 10-minute event. I don't know if they're going to change it, how it's structured now, but if it's still a 10-minute event, if you have to keep spawning, like, twice every minute, good luck. It keeps piling up, and then you're just getting a rough run of luck. Now think of a bunch of people disappeared because they're all on a 20-second timer. You're just standing around there and there's nobody around you. Hopefully it's not that intense. They might even pull back on that. Time will tell. They also mentioned that there's going to be a period of time that players can use to gather and coordinate before starting the event. So I kind of just picture a bunch of people like and randoms hanging out in an area, but not really coordinating too much. I mean, the only coordination you'd really need is, let's say, encrypted. Exactly that again, activating the pylons. Maybe if they added markers or something, and then people would know, like, okay, this is my job going in. But something tells me it's just going to be a bunch of people running around, just as if it was a nuclear winter waiting lobby. Going back to that, though, they say after entering the event area or fast traveling to that event, you're going to have a timer, and you'll see how long players have left until the event starts. Players can also complete some objectives that will allow them to begin the event early. They say, for example, turning on the boilers during tea time. I've never done tea time. I have no idea what that is, but for probably everybody else, 98% of the players that have completed that, you know what they mean. And another one too, if no players are in that area, the event will shut down. So they say a little more on that, but what I'm jumping to this point is that's going to help stability. Imagine all the events that are going on at the map at once that people aren't doing, and they're just active. That's probably putting stress on the server. So if there's a timer and then it abruptly ends, you have to wait a little bit for the next event, that should, in theory, help with stability. For design and balance updates, there's a few. So energy weapons got some love. Now they're going to benefit from armor penetration. And then things like the anti-armor legendary perk will bypass energy resistance if it's an energy weapon. I had no idea that wasn't a thing before. Hazmat suits can now be crafted at and a hazmat suit recipe can now be purchased from some train station vendors. That's awesome for early game. I think that's a lot more early game friendly. By now I feel like everybody knows where they can pick up a hazmat suit if they really needed it. But think back to when you were a low level and didn't know, or you had to go out to a place that you weren't close enough to or haven't yet visited. Quality of life right there for the lower levels mostly, but I think that's useful. Mods, and I think this mod update is going to help make more things a little bit more feasible, but they call out the Prime Receiver mod, and they're changing the damage, and they're actually buffing it from 25% to 35% bonus against Scorched. So now, I think, me personally, I don't think I have any Scorched Prime Receiver stuff or anything like that, but I think maybe on one of my handmaids. Who knows, maybe now that'll make it a little more feasible for the Queen if she counts as a Scorched. Small backpacks, big quality of life early game. Talking about this earlier. New type of backpack, the small backpack has been added, and that plan has been added to the Overseer's cache inside the Morgantown Airport Terminal. Can't be traded, can't be sold or dropped or anything like that, but early game, if you're already in the area, you're going out, adventuring, now you can hoard a little bit more, a little earlier on. So hopefully that's something that they'll stumble upon, and then be able to start dealing with all of the hoarding problems earlier on for 76 career. A couple more things about the backpacks. They have 50% carrying capacity of the standard backpack. That's totally fine. They can use all the same mods as the standard backpack. And then for the Pioneer Scout quest, nothing's changed. You can still, learn the standard backpack that way. And it's not going to impact me, but I'm really appreciative of what they're doing. That's a big help. We didn't have backpacks for the longest time, and now people are going to have an earlier access to the backpack at lower levels, so that's good. Another, I would say, big update is the Purveyor's getting some new items, and this is kind of insight probably to what they're going to do in the future. They're adding a couple of things that I don't really understand why it's going to be in the loot table. The Sheep Squatch Club, the Sheep Squatch Staff, and the Shepherd's Crook from those events are now going to be able to have a legendary role at the Purveyor. They added the Fixer as well. The one thing that I like out of the entire list is the Bear Arm. So now we can maybe get Bloodied Bear Claws, and then maybe get Swing Speed and a God Roll on that, who knows. But here's the catch. These weapons will be available as long as the player has already learned the recipes for the base weapons. So now if you only want to roll one item, you're going to have to use that on a different character that's only learned, let's say, the Bear Claw. So that would definitely come in handy if I'm starting to play on my second character more. The next one I talk about, and I think this is pretty funny, train stations. The Atomic Shop access point has been removed from various train stations. So now the little standee cardboard cutout, the boy dude, is no longer there. I saw complaints and people were saying, you know, like, this is messed up, this is just like a road to our wallets, etc., etc. Like, a lot of people, from what I've seen, were complaining, so I guess they got the hint. We don't need a faster way to dump money out of our wallets. It's already plenty fast enough at the pause screen. A couple things for Vault 94 rewards, and this makes me wonder a little bit. We're getting some XP boosts. I don't know what the original XP boosts were, but apparently now Novice mode you'll get 1600 XP, Standard 1800, and Expert 2000. And then they're also talking about how it says additionally the Expert mid-quest XP rewards have been increased to 1,000. So going back to maybe completing that on Novice for 1600 XP, if we can run, let's say the very first one, I think it was Washout, on Standard, if that's like a decent amount of time, less than an hour or whatever it turned out to be, is a standard run like that worth 1,800 points, or is it worth just running West Tech a few times? And I'm always going to keep going back to West Tech in terms of like XP gain and not just for legendary hunting. I could run West Tech on a double XP weekend and basically, this was earlier on, level up every time. Now I feel like I'd have to maybe do it twice, 3 times maybe. In my higher levels, I think 330, but I'm going on my other character. I'm not gonna look to these quests as like, oh, I'm doing them for XP. I think that's one thing that Bethesda's missing out on. Their rewards were never supposed to be like, oh, I'm doing this for the XP, but I think that could be a really good way to pull people in if it's like, oh, if I complete this, I'm gonna gain a couple levels. Even if you're a much lower level, being able to accomplish that, and they already have kind of strict guidelines for the vaults themselves too. So if the vaults are harder to do, make the reward, match the risk. Another thing for the reward, speaking of, the drill has been removed as a possible legendary item when completing the Vault 94 mission. So shout out to the people on Reddit that posted that they completed what I think the extra mode or something like that and got a drill, and then they put it on a plinth and they were like, oh, this is to our Lord and Savior God Howard. They have little shrines celebrating these legendary drills that I don't understand how that's been such a problem for a long time. We had the legendary drills dropping at Scorch Beast Queen and like various other legendary creatures. I don't know. I don't know what it is with the drill that drill equals legendary when they're coding things in. Not a clue. How about this? Why don't you add legendary attributes to a drill, and then that'll fix issues? Because if somebody gets a bloodied swing speed plus strength drill, they're probably not going to be as mad as if that was the reward. Alright, so then moving on, we got quests and events. So this is great, another huge quality of life, aiming towards, let's say, even mid-range players, lower levels, new players. The bucket list. So now, at the Atomic Shop, you're going to be able to pick up the personal terminal. It's going to be free. You don't know about this, and it's going to allow you to activate the bucket list, and it's going to show you the current location of the tourist. So now people don't have to hunt and hop over and over again looking for this tourist to start that, and then this will be a much easier way for people to start getting their camera. Again, it's probably not going to affect most of us that already have this, but if other players start making new characters, or newer players run into these challenges where they're like, oh, I have to take pictures of stuff, how do I do that? Well, go get yourself a terminal, go start the quest, start bucket list, boom. So instead of wasting nights or you know, hours hopping. It's just a quick hunt. It's the way it should have been from the beginning. That's awesome. And my mouth would like, my jaw hit the floor. I had no idea that this was coming out and didn't expect this, but a new utility item. Everybody's got to check this out. It's the Collectron Station. It says, after building a Collectron Station in camp, a Collectron bot will search the nearby area for scrap and other simple items. And they say that you can unlock it in the atomic shop. I'm going to have to check that out. But that's great. So now we're going to get a little personal helper to go around and collect stuff while you're away. Did not see that coming. I do believe in one of the, I don't know if it was the 100 Days roadmap or one of the other ones, but they show a little emblem, and it looks like a little robot. And for the longest time, I don't know if that meant, like, is this robot going to protect our base? Or is it going to be something else? That might be the same emblem that they have a silhouette of. And maybe that's it. Maybe it's a Collectron. Maybe it's not going to be a sentry that's going to protect our base, but something that's going to provide you with scrap. So when you go home and your base has been halfway destroyed, you have this little robot that's like, hey, look, it's not so bad. I softened the blow on, you know, your budget of repairs. So moving on. Then another thing I was pretty hyped up when I was looking at, they said the refrigerator. I still need to look into this, but I heard people already pissed about the refrigerator. I didn't get to read the article. It's been a busy day, but they're saying after building a refrigerator in a camp, players can assign foods and drink items to it from the stash to slow their spoilage rate by 50%. And then they mentioned that refrigerators can be unlocked in the atomic shop. That sounds great. And I was talking about, like, comparing it to Ark. I'm like, where's our tech troughs? Where's our upgrade in life? Where's our actual refrigerator? Well, we got one. But if I saw correctly, I saw some articles, people freaking out, and they're saying, you know, players are mad because Bethesda's selling a $7 fridge. I'm kind of a little mad in the sense that for the longest time they haven't provided any item shop stuff that would really drastically change your gameplay and make it fair, more so one person over the other. I think the repair kits, kind of whatever, not really hurting anybody, especially that you can collect those by doing Scorch Beast Queen and other events. So that's repair kits. Then you have the scrap kits. I've never used them. I don't know if that's going to be like, oh man, some wallet warriors can spend a lot of money and have a huge advantage because he can't go to a workstation to scrap stuff, or do it the hard way and over encumbered walk like a mile across the terrain. But now, if the next step is them having a $7 fridge, that's kind of broken because you definitely will have an advantage. Not a PvP type advantage over somebody else, but that's some huge quality of life stuff. They're going to sucker a bunch of people into buying this fridge. And if they get enough complaints about it, they might lower the price. I don't know if they're going to stand firm on that. Do I want a fridge? Hell yeah. Do I want to spend $7 on a fridge? I'm currently sitting on 3,500 atoms. So to me, I wouldn't mind buying that fridge. But that's kind of just adding fuel to the fire. That's just encouraging them to do more. So I might take a couple steps back from the fridge and whether I do a boycott of it or something, I don't know. But that's the fridge. So it's interesting that they're adding stuff like that to our camps. They're adding also wallpapers, so some new camp decor. Being I'm going to be playing on my other character, and I'm not as locked into my current base location, now I can kind of mess around with moving around, placing different bases. They mentioned that wallpapers can be unlocked in the atomic shop, so I mean, for the right price, I'll spend the items on it. People that have the white picket fences, apparently now there's alternate versions that will snap together. UI got some update as well. It says weapon and armor workbenches now display the number of mods the player has unlocked so far for a given item, as well as the total number of mods available for that item. So finally, you're going to see I learned 6 out of 10 possible unlocks for combat armor, or something like that. So that's going to be great. I don't know why that wasn't part of the game already, but now people will know, okay, I have this many more items to unlock, so I'm going to keep scrapping this. Because let's just say you have combat armor legs and you keep getting it as a reward from an event. let's say, dense combat armor leg. If you already have everything possibly unlocked, why would you script it any further? At that point, you're probably going to start selling it or giving it to your friends so they can start scripting it or scrapping it and learning different mods. Moving on to Nuclear Winter. So, new map, Morgantown. We're going to call this Nuketown. Zax has decided that the Vault 51 Overseer selection process needs a change of scenery. They're saying a new Morgantown map for Nuclear Winter is now available for play. So this is going to be very interesting, because now we're going to be forced to play this. They talk about how it's a diverse battlefield, and we're going to have to master this. We're going to see some new creatures, including Assaultrons, Grafton Monster, and Rad Scorpions. I hate Assaultrons. They're like next to Pea-Shooter Gutsies that kill you in 2 hits. Assaultrons are right up there with creatures I hate, so this is going to be an interesting run-in. And going back to us mastering this event, all Nuclear Winter matches will temporarily be taking place in Morgantown to give us all a chance to master the new map. So realistically, and we said this already the past couple days, they don't have a map selection thing probably in process or in place. So yesterday on Monday, we're like, hey, we're gonna play the old map because tomorrow we might not be able to play it. Well, exactly, that's what it turned out to be. Also, sure, we're gonna be running Nuclear Winter regardless, but there's gonna be some limited time rewards that I mentioned before. 6 new Vault-Tec University themed stuff that we can unlock. And we can unlock it for free as long as we're playing within the next so many weeks. They say the next few weeks, they didn't give a time yet. I think this is interesting because I think they're incentivizing numbers and they're working on data collection. So now they're like, hey, if you want this limited time thing, you should come play our game. So more people show up, and now they can stress test stuff a little bit more, which is good. But let's see if they release any numbers or like, oh, we had a great weekend, you know, millions of you are playing. Another huge announcement. Global matchmaking. This is awesome. Matchmaking improvements for Nuclear Winter allow candidates to take the battle to become Vault 51's Overseer worldwide. So now they're going to start helping other players in all game regions find matches more quickly. And this is great because let's say the few Australians that swing by the stream, they've mentioned how they wait for like half an hour for a game to start. There's like 20 people in the lobby and then the game doesn't start. I also understand that for some people in the UK at night, it's harder to find matches. So, for example, somebody like Gareth can abandon us, and he can go meet other people, and he can play at night without worrying that he won't be able to find game matches. So let's see what else we got. Moving on to challenges, and then now this is, I guess, nice quality of life improvement. They're saying daily challenges will now automatically be tracked in the challenge tracker that appears on the map screen. So when I pause the game and it shows me how many hours out of 7,600 total hours of the game, next to that will show us what the daily is, so we don't have to jump through challenges anymore. Another little quick quality of life fix. One less set of buttons you have to press to see what the challenge is, and then you don't have an excuse to why you missed it. So I don't know how I feel about this yet, but they added some new items as well to Nuclear Winter. They added Assaultron heads and Gauss rifles. They're saying they can be, in medium and large supply crates. I personally haven't used the Gauss rifle, so I don't know how I feel about that yet. And the Assaultron heads, from my experience, I wonder if this is going to be OP. I wonder if you're going to pick up an Assaultron head, mash the reload on it, and then just wait until you run into somebody and one-shot kill them with an energy blast. Maybe. Or maybe it's going to be a waste and not useful at all. Time will tell on that. Perks got some updates. Well, the important ones. So they have Rad Resist. Rad Resistance is now increased from 40 to 650. That is a huge buff. And that almost makes me want to use that for survivability in nuke zones. So now we don't run into nuke zones all the time, but having that almost as a backpack or like a backup or a backup plan, you can survive in a nuke zone with, let's say, marine armor. Do not have to have your hazmat suit, and you can still fight in there. So maybe worth looking into. They say refractor energy resistance is increased from 40 to 80, and I think that's kind of to combat the buff from energy weapons doing more damage, because they're going through armor. So let's say I pick up the energy laser rifle, or the auto energy laser rifle, and I also have tank killer that allows me to ignore whatever 40% or more armor. Now if somebody has refractor, that's going to help them survive a little more as well. So a big one that I know a bunch of people are ecstatic about, sound got some updates, saying new audio cues will now play when downing or killing another enemy player, but the big one is the main menu music. Players can now choose to lower the volume on or mute the main menu music while queued. So I know a bunch of people, myself included, are excited for this. We're having a main menu party later on before we queue into Nuclear Winter. But I'm happy because it's like they're listening. They're actually starting to understand that we don't like that main menu music prior to playing, Nuclear Winter. I personally am a little better at drowning it out, but again, a lot of quality of life stuff everywhere here. We do have some bug fixes. So there's various bug fixes to graphics, nothing too crazy. But I do want to jump down to something that I think is pretty funny, and they're calling this a bug fix for camp items. They're saying that there was an exploit. So two things, sorry, before I get to that one. There's the floor decor, that I thought was pretty funny. The Future Tech World Globe that I have in my base that you spin and it shows the nukes going off can no longer be built if it has not been unlocked in the Atomic Shop. But they're saying existing globes placed by players who do not own this item have not been removed. However, those players will be unable to place additional globes unless they unlock it from the Atomic Shop. I got mine. I'm happy. I don't need to buy another one. If I mess up and remove it somehow and it can't be placed, so be it. As far as I understood, I think that was only part of the Vault-Tec bundle that was too expensive to begin with for some stairs and a globe to spin, along with a couple of cardboard cutouts. But definitely interesting that they're like, alright, you guys can keep it, we're not going to take it from you. There was apparently an exploit relating to people placing more than 4 vending machines. I hop a lot when shopping for different stuff to maybe script or upgrade my character, but I've never seen more than 4 vending machines. Also, I don't know why you would have more than 4 vending machines. 4 vending machines alone is like 120 items, or 120 stacks of items. So some more challenge fixes, more bug fixes for the challenges, more so allowing you to complete certain challenges that weren't able to be completed before. Now we've seen that the past couple updates. Moving on to items, so apparel. The Mr. Fuzzy costume now correctly appears in the Camden Park Company store terminal and can be purchased by redeeming 150 tokens, so now everybody's going to be getting a Mr. Fuzzy costume. Another one, the Urban Scout Armor Mask, can now be worn with hats and many open-faced helmets. So it's funny because that Urban Scout Armor Mask kind of reminded me of the Borderlands mask, just because of that like little fan thing they got going on. And to me, it's almost like in celebration of Borderlands 3 coming out, you can now wear that with other hats and whatnot. And also for Scout Armor mods, being we're talking about Scout Armor, the Enclave vendors that have these mods available for purchase will now indicate which piece of armor they correspond to and can be correctly applied to that armor, so you don't have to guess on what's what. There's been some power armor adjustments. Quests and events got a lot of minor fixes, some quality of life improvements here, but nothing too crazy. I'm happy to see more performance and stability. I feel like every patch we're gonna see another just quick mention, oh, performance and stability, we fixed something else that's supposed to prevent crashing. So apparently people were crashing on the PS4 when using a workbench with a very large number of unique inventory items. I don't know what that means. Kind of vague. Implemented additional improvement for an issue that could previously cause a crash when placing a fusion core into power armor. That's game breaking. There is some more stability improvements that they mentioned with power armor and crashing when trying to go to the main menu. One of the things that I'm looking at though is address an issue that could cause a server crash. That's all it says. Address an issue that causes a server crash. Whatever it is, I'm happy. Thank you. And then a huge one that I think might be a Scorch Beast Queen run fix. So whenever doing Scorch Beast Queens, hopefully we'll find out soon. Fix an issue that could cause the client to freeze during events with many participants. So, unfortunately, people that run Scorch Beast Queen with us get disconnected. I get disconnected sometimes. It just freezes. You hear the radiation storm in the background, but you wind up having to crash out your game. So hopefully that fixes it. Now you don't have to struggle to get back into a server. There was a few UI fixes. The one I want to mention is Vault 94 now has a timer. It says the Vault shutdown timer now correctly displays for all players on a team after completing a Vault mission. So when we're at the end and we're just kind of running around and it says, oh, the Vault's about to close, we have an exact idea how much time we have. I never personally noticed a timer. The way they're writing it, I don't know if that meant some people saw it, some people didn't. But now that should be fixed for everybody. So there's some nuclear winter bug fixes in regards to camp, items, perks, user interface, but the one thing that I'm definitely interested in is they fixed an exploit. Now, we personally run into this, but I don't know how they classify as an exploit. It says fixed an issue that could allow a player to move in the world for a few seconds before other players. So now, there's a bunch of times when we drop Vault Tech and I'm like, oh, I hope I load first. Half the time, it's me loading in and somebody's already way past me, like they've loaded in a few seconds earlier. I don't know if they somehow figured a way to cage us all and then lift the gate all at the same exact time for everybody, but if that's what they mean, then that's great. Providing kind of a fair shot in the beginning as opposed to, oh, I can't loot that because he got that. Let me turn around, oh, that guy got that too. I guess I'm going to die because I can't get to my blue crates, yellow crates, or orange crates in time. So yeah, that's a good amount of stuff. Overall, it's not like they added too much to the game. It seems like it's a pretty good balance of they touched Nuclear Winter with the new map, so that's a big thing in terms of Nuclear Winter. It's a whole new game mode in terms of verticality and what we're going to experience when we run it. Adventure mode got a lot of quality of life stuff. They did get some new items in the game. And then there's nothing on PvP, and one of the things that I find really interesting, and if you're just at the main menu alone, if you go to play, it still says survival beta, winter beta. So when do these actually come out of beta, and how much are they just kind of pushing it further, and growing it over time while collecting data? So these nuclear winter items that are in the game, are we going to have to play every day to unlock all 6 items? Is this for statistics? Is this for data and stress testing? We're going to find out soon if they release any info. But definitely going to be checking out some nuclear winter as soon as possible, as soon as these notes are covered. But that does wrap it up. I mean, I'm happy with everything that I went over. There was nothing that was like, oh man, they nerfed something or they're threatening how we play. A lot of it aided the way we play. The public events, fast travel to them, they'll give you more information, which which will be much more insightful if you really want to run something. Already said the new map from Morgantown, global matchmaking, huge improvement. So now we can all play and not have certain countries that unfortunately can't have a matchmaking within a certain amount of time. I do see good overall idea that they're tweaking stuff with the design and balance updates and fixing what's in the game. So it's not really like add too much new to the game. It's right now it's like we're tweaking some stuff, keeping people occupied with Nuclear Winter, and of course every update we're gonna get Atom Shop stuff. Even if we don't get an update every Tuesday, we're gonna see some new items. So it's kind of hard to see long term like where they headed with this game. I compare this game a lot of times to having the ability to be something like Diablo, in the sense that when you play Diablo, you're playing that to grind, say, legendaries while you're enjoying the story. Whereas this game, a lot of people have a lot of different opinions about the story, but I grind legendaries, and unfortunately I'm always killing 3 stars and getting 1-star loot. At what point does like everything just drop a legendary, but some of the legendaries are obviously way better than the other ones we've been finding? Sure, now we can get the bear claw and the sheep squatch staff and all this and that. Like, we need some legendary item improvements. We need a couple of things, but as long as every update is a step in the right direction, I'm happy. Yeah, it just says Collectron Station can now be unlocked in the Atomic Shop, the same way the refrigerators say the same thing. It never said it was going to be free. But as happy as I was for this, I don't think I'm down for the fact that it's going to cost us 500 atoms. I don't know how I feel about this. You can choose which types of items the Collectron should search for. Alright, so I'm maybe going to get this. See, that's the thing. If I get this, I can't boycott the fridge. That would be stupid. But I definitely am not going to purchase both. Are you going to boycott the fridge and the robot with us?
Yeah, that's a bunch of bullshit.
Do not have a grenade, sir. Now you do. Also, guy to your left. Oh, 2 guys. You are fucked.
2 guys.
Oh.
So I will gladly
Match
boycott
complete.
y'all.
Nice.
Gladly? Alright. We're going to start a movement.
I didn't want either one, so it's pretty easy.
Jeez.
But you think
We're
it's
all
bullshit,
decked out.
right? That they're
Oh,
adding
absolutely.
that
I was
as a
pissed
cur-
when I
like
when I saw it. I
yeah.
was like, this is ridiculous, because that's literally to the point of where they're gonna start they're starting to sell features of the game. It's not cosmetic.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.